Tottenham Hotspur captain Heung-min Son has come out and said, "I am in the best shape I've ever been in." Reports in Spain are stating that Cristiano Romero wants Real Madrid this coming summer. Tim Sherwood has stated that Spurs can still have the best season they have had in recent history if they win the Europa League. And Radu Drăgușin's agent has spoken out yet again, stating that Napoli were interested. Everyone wants to work under Antonio Conte, but for now, I can't say anything. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all keeping well. This is another edition of Tottenham News, where I'll be going for all the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit the follow button and leave a review if you can. So let's start by talking about a couple of Tottenham Hotspur players currently on international duty. On Wednesday evening, Mikey Moore claimed an assist as the England under-19s toppled Wales 2-0 in their UEFA under-19 qualification opener at Bangor City Stadium. The winger came off the bench on 72 minutes and then provided the assist just 12 minutes later on 84 minutes. Heung-min Son played the full 90 minutes for South Korea on Thursday as his side drew 1-1 against Oman. He completed the most dribbles, 3 in the match. He had 2 shots, 1 on target, accurate passes, 37 out of 45, which was 82%, and he also created 3 chances. Now, Spurs and South Korean star Heung-min Son has been talking about his physical condition. He said, "As I have repeated many times, I'm in excellent physical condition. I believe that I'm in the best shape I've ever been. Since we've had so many matches, I think my club manager, Ange Postecoglou, made those decisions to create better situations. Personally, I feel great and there are no issues at all. I just want to emphasise that I am maintaining a very good condition." Reports in Spain are stating that Bryan Gil is expected to be out of action for at least 5 to 6 months after having surgery on Thursday, as he has torn his lateral collateral ligament in his right knee. Now, on Thursday afternoon, Bryan Gil took to Instagram after his surgery and said it all turned out great. "This is just one more little stone in the long way I have left." More reports in Spain are stating that Tottenham Hotspur centre-back Cristiano Romero is willing to take the step to join Real Madrid in the summer transfer window. Tottenham have him under contract until 2027, but Spurs may struggle to keep his head turning if a club like Real Madrid comes in. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club announced on Thursday that Malachi Hardy has signed his first professional contract with the club. The centre-back, who turned 17 last week, has established himself in our under-18 side towards the end of last season. He has featured regularly at that level this term, opening his goal-scoring account with a superb header in this month's 6-4 home victory against Arsenal. Having played for and captained England's under-17s, Malachi Hardy stepped up to make his under-21s debut in January's 2-0 home win against Liverpool and has been named as a sub for our first team on 12 occasions over the course of the current campaign. Now, Radu Drăgușin's agent has spoken out yet again about his client and talking about Tottenham Hotspur. He has stated this time Radu misses Italy. Who knows? He might even come back in the future. But at the moment, the strongest league is the one in England. So it's hard to say that it is not a pleasure to play there. Yes, Napoli were interested. I also spoke to them. They were very kind, but it was too late. Tottenham had already started negotiations a month earlier, and then Bayern Munich also got involved. In the end, Radu chose Spurs. All the players in the world would like to be trained by Antonio Conte to improve. He is a top-level coach, but for now, I can't say anything because Radu Drăgușin has a long contract with Tottenham. The France under-21 boss, Gerald Batacore, has been talking about Spurs forward Tel. He has stated that the forward has the mentality and appetite of a real goal scorer. He is a player with great potential who needs to develop his professionalism to establish himself. He must show that he is efficient and effective to reach much higher levels. There is still work to be done, but the foundation is very interesting. Now, Sweden boss John Dahl Tomasson has been talking about Spurs midfielder Lucas Bergvall. He said, "We are one player short today. We will see how he feels tomorrow." Lucas Bergvall has a cold and he is not in top form. He has to stay in bed, so we will see how he feels during the day. But we will have to wait to see how the match goes on Saturday. We cannot decide that now. He could have maybe had a little bit of involvement today in training, but there is no reason to take any risks. And reports in Italy are stating that Fabio Paratici is now close to being appointed as AC Milan's sporting director. Of course, his ban ends this coming summer. Reports in Italy are also stating that Tottenham Hotspur chairman Daniel Levy wanted Paratici to stay on at Spurs and has been trying to bring him back. Tottenham Hotspur legend Mark Falco has been talking about Tottenham's season and the Europa League. He said, "If they can do it this year and win the Europa League, I would be so proud and pleased as punch. We've played some great football this season and we need to get back to getting the team back together. It's coming back gradually and the injuries are being patched. Hopefully we can get the whole team and squad back together, firing on all cylinders." Former Spurs captain and manager Tim Sherwood has also been talking about Tottenham's season, Ange Postecoglou and the Europa League. He has stated there have been some fantastic managers at Tottenham. They have had some trophy managers such as Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte. They even had Nuno Espirito Santo, who they couldn't get out of the club quick enough, and now he is third in the Premier League. There's no guaranteed manager to come in. They've had Mourinho and Conte, who are supposedly guaranteed to bring success and win trophies, but they couldn't. Sometimes the glove fits and sometimes it doesn't. Sherwood then went on to say, "I like Ange Postecoglou. He is something different. He certainly brought some excitement back to the club. It's a little bit too entertaining at times, but they can obviously score goals, but they can also concede. They can beat anyone, but they can lose to anyone, so it is unpredictable. Of course, you want to see more consistency. But what he produced last year, when the players stayed fit, that is what I'd be looking at rather than this season where Spurs have been hit with injuries." Sherwood then went on to say, "If Spurs go on to win the Europa League and qualify for the Champions League, it will be considered as the best season Tottenham have had in recent history." Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let's start by talking about the players on international duty. On Thursday, Heung-min Son playing the full 90 minutes for South Korea. Very disappointing result for South Korea, and that's exactly what he said after the match. But the comments about his physical conditions, stating that I'm in the best shape I've ever been. Of course, it does take it out of players, though, travelling. He finished that game on Sunday. Of course, he was rested for the game. He played the second half at Craven Cottage. And then, of course, gets on a plane, takes best part of a day to get there. That would have been on the Monday when he arrived. And then, of course, on the Thursday morning, UK time, he's playing a full 90 minutes for South Korea. Must be very, very tiring. But of course, he's got to play in these games because he is their number one superstar in South Korea. I do get it. I know Son comes out and says that personally he feels great, no issues, etc., etc. But all of that travelling, it must take its toll. It really must. Mikey Moore with an assist, brilliant for him. Christian Romero to Real Madrid. We are seeing more and more stories about this week by week. Of course, Romero's now away with Argentina. That is going to be a very, very interesting one. When Spurs apparently wanted to sign Mark Gay in the January transfer window, I think that is quite telling. If Spurs were going to spend that amount of money, 60 to 70 million pounds on a centre-back, if Spurs were going to spend that sort of money, when you got the likes of Radu Drăgușin, and I'll come on to his agent in a second, I feel like Christian Romero is probably going to leave this summer. I wouldn't be at all surprised. Mark Falco on can Spurs win the Europa League this season? He said, I'd be so proud and pleased as punch, wouldn't we all? Of course, we all want to see our football club lift a trophy, especially after all these years, 41 long years without a European trophy. He says, hopefully we can get the squad back firing on all cylinders. That is exactly what we want, starting at Chelsea away in a couple of weeks' time, back in Premier League action. And then, of course, we've got their very, very important games against Frankfurt, home first, away second. Brian Hill, you got to feel for him, really, because he has just had surgery, posted it on Instagram on Thursday afternoon. He's expected to miss around 5 months of action. That's going to be interesting now, whether he will return to Spurs or the contract is activated and he does actually leave the football club in the summer, as a lot of people thought would happen. So will he return or not? France under-21 boss Gerald Batacle has been talking about Tell. I've said pretty much similar to him actually about Tell. I feel like he is a player with great potential, and you know, whenever I talk about transfer windows, I always say we need players for now. He has got a lot of potential. You know, £60 million on a player with a lot of potential. Could we get a ready-made player for now for £60 million? We probably could, but it's the way that the football club, it appears, you know, that's the way that they want to go. But, you know, Ange Postecoglou and the football club also said, and Fabrizio Romano, etc., said when he signed that if Spurs want to activate that option of signing him on a permanent deal, then Tell would have a big say in that. You know, has Tell been impressed with what he's seen at Spurs so far? With you know, talking to fans the way that he did against Fulham. You know, with the games, you know, the amount of games that we've lost since his arrival. You know, going out of the League Cup, going out of the FA Cup. You know, all these defeats in the Premier League. You know, a lot of discontent amongst the fan base, etc. Will he want to sign for Spurs? Will Spurs then activate that option? You know, will they want to spend £60 million in the summer after what they have seen? I feel like it's too early to tell, pardon the pun. Fabio Paratici is close to being appointed as AC Milan's sporting director, and Daniel Levy has been trying to bring him back. That is according to a lot of reports in Italy right now. Of course, Fabio Paratici is a very, very well-respected man in European football, particularly Italy. I've met Fabio Paratici a good couple of times, and he's always on his phone. I tell you, he should do adverts for British Telecom. Always on the phone, you know, always pacing up and down, always got the earpiece in, always taking calls. He is a very, very well-connected man, and he is still doing bits of work at Spurs, but once his ban is up in the summer, of course, he will want a full-time job, and he will be raring to get back to action. He will be raring to go. And I tell you what, I actually think that Fabio Paratici, if he ends up going back to Italy, to Milan, I think that this is going to be a big shame for Spurs, because you know, his phone book in football must be absolutely incredible. I don't think there is an agent or a player that he can't talk to and try and persuade to join Spurs. But of course, like I've said before, it's going to be interesting to see whether we've got European football or not next year. It looks highly unlikely via the league. So, you know, are Spurs going to be playing in the Champions League or no European football at all? And that is going to be very telling on what kind of players we can bring in with Champions League football or no European football at all. So the transfer windows will be very, very different one way or another. Radu Drăgușin's agent, wow. How much does he talk about his client? We get the fact, yes, Napoli were interested. Yes, we get the fact that Bayern Munich were interested. How many times do we need to keep hearing the same old story? I think we've heard more from Radu Drăgușin's agent more than any other agents. You know, I do these Tottenham news videos, or try to do them on a daily basis, but the 60-second updates certainly on a daily basis. And you know, the years that I've done all these updates, I don't think I've ever quoted a player's agent so much. I think in actual fact, all of the players that I've ever spoken about over all of these years, I think if you added them all up together, I don't think their agents have come out and said the amount of comments that his agent has said. But he constantly talks about how great it is elsewhere. He said before about Spurs, in quite a negative way. What we have seen of Radu Drăgușin, I don't think it has been too impressive. I think there is a lot more to come from Radu, and I think that he has been very unlucky picking up this injury, because he was going to get those run of games, and then of course he picked up that injury. But if you were the player, wouldn't you as the player just say to your agent, why do you keep talking like this in public all the time? Just calm it down a little bit. I just find it very, very strange. Give Me Sport have stated that Spurs aim to sign Tyler Diblin as soon as the summer transfer window opens, as Manchester United are interested. Spurs want to get in there quick. Like I keep saying about transfer windows, I feel like we've had enough of signing players for the future and players to develop. It's going to take them a year, two, etc. Yeah, Tyler Diblin's got experience in the Premier League, but are these players going to deliver week in, week out in the Premier League? And if we are in the Champions League, we need players to play in these games who are experienced and who are going to get Spurs over the line, not keep trying out players and hoping it will work, sometime down the line. It needs to happen now. Spurs have announced Malachi Hardy has signed his first professional contract with the club. And what a stat this is. He turned 17 last week and he's been named as a sub for the first team on 12 occasions over the course of this current campaign. What a career he's got ahead of him. I love that, and many congratulations to him. His first professional contract. Imagine being on the sub bench 12 times, for the first team, and you haven't even signed a first professional contract with the club. So that is absolutely brilliant news. Lastly, Tim Sherwood. I feel like Tim Sherwood, very level-headed comments from him. Yes, everyone was excited about Ange Postecoglou coming in, very different to the style of Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, Nuno Espirito Santo, etc., etc. But he said there, we can score goals, we can also concede goals, we're very inconsistent, that needs to stop. I know everyone keeps going on about the injuries, Mark Falco as well mentioned about the injuries. Sometimes I feel like Ange just needs to adapt his game a little bit more in order for us to get results, because I feel like some teams, sometimes, and I felt a lot more recently, I feel like we are a very, very easy team to play against, and that is not good in the Premier League. We're sitting in 14th at the moment. We've got 9 games left in the Premier League. We've got 2 massive games in the Europa League. And I think it is now time for Ange Postecoglou to deliver. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit the follow button and leave a review if you can. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you in the next one. Come on, you Spurs.